Morning, Neil. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been on my hit list for a little while.
Thank you.
Finally got you here.
Thank you. No, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it. I think HAE play a huge role, I think, in the hire industry. And it's great to add maybe traffic management alongside the traditional view of what hire looks like.
Yeah. Well, let's do the quick introductions. I think most people know who I am. Neil Bravery, Commercial Director for the Hire Association. So Adam, over to you.
Yeah, so Adam Caulfield, I'm the CEO of Chevron and also the president of our other businesses in the UK. So that's 8 other businesses, representing 1,700 people today across the whole of the UK, including Northern Ireland.
Good, good. So I think we'll start with giving our podcast listeners and viewers a bit of a background about you, Adam, because obviously you've got quite an interesting background, haven't you?
Yeah.
I want to say Disney to Coca-Cola to hire. I mean, I can't even work out how you even start with that. So maybe just for the benefit of our listeners, just give us a bit of a potted of history of how you've got to Ramudden Global now, and where did your sort of corporate journey really start?
I think the corporate journey was probably Disney years ago when I did a year and a bit in Florida.
Lovely.
When I was part of the university course.
Okay.
So this was a time with no mobile phones, no internet, was turning up halfway around the world to spend a year not knowing anybody really.
Yeah.
And I think if anything, it makes you grow up, makes you be able to talk to anybody in any circumstances, to really have a strong view of what good customer service looks like, consistency, etc. So I probably learned that from a good age at like 18, 19, so 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to stay in hospitality and catering, and probably my 20s were around hospitality, catering, and then move working into for Coca-Cola. My 30s were very much then moving from Coke to a coffee and refreshment services business, which actually has a lot of similarities with hire. This was the days before Starbucks or Costa. So this was where you used to get your coffee in the office every day. Yeah. There was a kettle or there was somebody pushing a trolley.
Nobody walked in with a
No, nobody had a paper cup of coffee. You wouldn't have had a latte. You wouldn't have known what a matcha triple latte was or whatever. So we had the 30s was very much about working in the coffee industry for private equity, and then the business that I started with there, I stayed with for around 10 years. We're from UK sales director to international sales director, responsible for 300 and odd salespeople across 14 countries.
So you're a coffee expert then? Really?
I'm a trained barista, so if it all goes wrong,
you know where you're going.
Yeah, I can lean on that, and I might be serving you coffee at some stage. And then a complete change. I'd done 10 years in the coffee industry. We'd had various different owners, and I just decided I wanted a change. And really quickly had a call with Tom Shorten at HSS. HSS again.
Oh, we missed the Coca-Cola bit out.
The Coca-Cola bit. It was pure. It was as a sort of sales manager, which was the first time I rolled up, if you like, operational experience in catering and hospitality into management. Yeah. So working for Coke was great because you get really clear boundaries about what good looks like, how you treat people, how you manage performance. I learned a lot there within a quite a tight framework.
Okay.
The career path there was then moving through to, I was working in like independent trade, and I did lots of project work. So when the Commonwealth Games was in Manchester, I did a whole piece leading that. Yep. Moving then into more the grocery side, working with likes of Asda, Sainsbury's, it didn't sort of float my boat. It was very formal, very formulaic, and just wanted a bit of a change. Okay. So I then got approached by a customer who was working with Coca-Cola, which was a company called 24/7 Vending based down in Bristol. They then got bought by private equity, and it was the usual sort of being part of the big roll-up and sort of making a name for yourself in a smaller business that was growing. Okay. So I think we grew from around £7 million a year at 24/7 Vending to, I think, about 150 million in about 6 years in the UK. Half of it organic, half of it roll-up. So very much a sales-focused role, winning new customers, developing the proposition. Yeah. And again, probably really helped me from a higher perspective. Multiple different kind of income streams, some fixed, some variable. Great customer service. Probably a customer that's not always particularly planned as well. Yep. So you understand how to react to hire, and it's very different, but it's not.
I get that. I mean, most people in our industry sort of fall into it, and I suppose for you, that call just came in one day, and it was just like,
for sure.
Do you fancy a complete, U-turn on your career and go in a different direction, be aligned to construction?
Yeah, it was. after 10 years of flying around Europe, and it sounds glamorous, but when you're away from home 4 nights a week, I had a young son at the time.
Yep.
It was just one of those that I felt like I wanted a bit of a change and being a little bit closer to home. The advantage, I got a call from, about HSS, met Tom Shorten a couple of times and decided to take the plunge. I know there's a footballer once said about why did you move to the club? And it was because it was close to my house. I think HSS at the time, I think it was 30 minutes on the tram.
Right.
And I just thought rather than getting on a plane to go to work every day was...
That's easy.
Honestly, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So, moved to my first meeting, if anybody's been to the old HSS building on the top floor with...
Is Trafford Park?
No, the right next to Old Trafford Cricket Ground.
Oh, right, okay, yep.
So I think eight direct reports, most of which I still speak to now, are all a combined experience of about 300 years in the hire industry.
Yeah.
At about 3 minutes, and they're also asking, "Well, what we're going to do, boss?" So that was a brilliant learning curve, but really enjoyed it, and I think it was a great business for me to go into. Lots of history. Probably needed some fixing in certain areas, but actually still had a really good name with its customers.
Yeah,
and thoroughly enjoyed my introduction to the industry.
So lots of transferable skills then from Disney, Coca-Cola, coffee.
Yeah,
and then try and sort of mould that into what does hire look like and what can I bring to the party.
Yeah, I think the common bit always. I don't think it matters what industry you do. I think it's a leadership role. It's people and communication.
Yep. Yeah.
There's all the stuff about safety and about setting standards and about managing performance, but at the heart of it, can you communicate well with people all the way through the business?
Yes.
Because in my view, the business doesn't happen with just one person. It happens with everybody and the roles that they perform. No one's more important than each other, but we need everybody.
It's a team, isn't it? You need everybody.
A huge team piece. And you see it in sports a lot where a team is maybe not performing as well as it could be. Maybe a change of leadership or a newfound sense of belief, and then it starts performing. And the same people doing the same job, but start doing it in a different or a better way.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we got to at HSS.
Yeah. And then obviously, am I right in saying HSS to Sunbelt?
I had a blip year I went working for Wolseley for around 11 months.
Yep.
I'd say my skills really fall, and where I've got success is by being front and center with the teams that work in the organization I'm at.
Okay.
Wolseley didn't really allow that because after about 4 weeks after I started, the first COVID lockdown happened.
Right.
So you were really, as everyone will remember, long walks during the day. But the business never closed down, never furloughed, always worked. But it was very remote. You weren't able to strike those relationships that I think the hire industry is at the core of what it is relationship based and going back years and years, and where people help each other to succeed. I wasn't able to do that at Wolseley, and then they were sold by the Ferguson Group in the US. It just seemed a not natural parting of the ways, and Andy Wright at Sunbelt, we had a chat and moved there.
Yeah, I suppose that really sort of galvanised your hire career. Then you've done the HSS into Sunbelt.
Yeah, for sure,
bringing you right up to speed to where you are now with Ramudden Global.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I'd always thank Andy for the opportunity of moving to Sunbelt, and then also some other good sponsors when I was in that business as well. Phil Parker, who I still talk to, CEO, and a number of colleagues that have either worked in my team or I've worked with, still in contact with.
Okay.
It was a really, I love the industry. It was a nice one to move to after HSS.
Yeah.
And realised probably that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So Ramudden Global, you're down as president.
I am, yeah.
It feels very American.
Yeah.
When you say president, what does that look like? What does your daily routine look like? Just give us a bit of an idea, Adam.
So it's my first president role, so it was quite amusing, and my friends have taken a lot of opportunity to let's just make a bit of fun of me, shall we say, on that one. The way that Ramudden works, it's a global safety infrastructure platform. So it's really the hidden in the background way that major road projects, major highways projects, and some other industries get done. We have to make an area safe before the work can happen.
Yep.
That's the easiest way to describe it. The way the group is structured, we have markets in North America. The president for North America, not the one we all know. Paul's president.
We won't talk about him today.
No, we're not talking about him. Paul, president of North America. We have presidents in Belgium for Netherlands, for Germany, and then Stina for the whole of the Nordics. So if you're responsible for a geographical territory, you're a president. and therefore all the businesses that operate in that territory fall under your purview, as well as the CEO role, as well as sort of what does a day look like. The bit I think I love about the hire industry, the bit I love about the Ramudden role, there isn't a day the same.
Yeah, that's higher for you.
It's higher for you, and you can go through the joys and challenge that you have in any role literally in a half an hour journey on the phone. I think in the hire industry, you can leave your house thinking everything's great, then it's not, and then it is again by the time you get to your destination. It's
like you said this morning, didn't you? I said, what was your journey in this morning?
Yeah.
Constant phone calls all the way across the M62.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I love the fact that it's different. I think a lot of people gravitate to the industry because you get an element of working with your colleagues, an element of working with your customers, participating in things like this, being part of a great trade association. All those different things give it such variety.
Yeah.
If you want to know, my week this week was Monday. I left my home at 4:30 on Monday morning. And I've been and done a dozen or so depot visits and customer visits down in the southwest. So I've been as far down as Newport, Bath, and then over to, on Wednesday, I was seeing signs for the Channel Tunnel down in Tring, which is Maidstone kind of.
Yeah.
As a northern boy, I just know it's south.
Yeah. South of Watford.
Yeah, it's definitely south of Watford. So then, the 268-mile journey home on Wednesday night, having been out. So that was all day. Yesterday was some internal meetings, and then today with you. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, I'm at a trade show in Holland. So it really is varied, and it's a really nice way to live, I think. I like it.
Got an easy Friday today, haven't you, really?
I've got an easy
Friday. You've got an easy Friday.
You've not seen my afternoon after this, but yeah, there's never an easy day, but there's always enjoyable ones.
So you've had a huge degree of success in your career. What do you think separates success for people that are successful and not? Is there what's the difference?
That's a great question. I like to think about sort of openness to either learning or taking on views or being involved in situations that may not feel comfortable to you.
Yeah.
Being prepared to be open to that and be able to walk into it. I presented, as an example, I presented to 250 colleagues a couple of weeks ago. We had a Get Set for Growth event for Ramudden, which was a really enjoyable event. The first time the company's ever brought together all the different business units, 200 colleagues, and then 50 customers in the same room.
Wow.
So I've only been at Ramudden 6 months, so I've met probably about a fifth of the room, and not more than that.
Okay.
And then you're standing up presenting. And
it's daunting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's daunting. And whilst people go, it scared me to death going standing on that stage, I've had to learn that as a skill. It's not natural to go and do that, to talk to.
I've been there and done that.
Yeah, it's not natural. But I really got to enjoy it because you can bring people on a journey. But if I'd have never years ago stood up, I did Young Enterprise when I was 16. And genuinely, at 16, I had to stand up in front of 500 people at Bolton Town Hall to present the business that I was working for.
At 16?
At 16, 500 people. And
it's tough.
It's tough. And no one wanted to do it. And I said, no, go on, I'll do it. And I think it's just that openness, probably encouraged by family, encouraged by friends. You get a bit of confidence to do it.
Yes.
But I think that openness, I don't know whether it's about being inquisitive, whether it's about being brave in some of the situations by saying yes rather than no, or saying, I'll try rather than no.
Well, what's the worst that's going to happen? You've got to give it a go, haven't you?
That's a great point, Ellie. What's the worst that could happen? And then you start reading, you start watching other people present, you start taking little bits away just on that one subject. So what sets it apart? I think openness and willingness to listen to lots of views and communicate. Doesn't mean to say you have to agree with it. I think the second one, actually, while I'm thinking about it, is the ability to debate.
Yes.
And I think from a world perspective, I think we've missed that, or we are missing that. I think the polarized views of, I agree with the red colours world or blue colours world, and I'm not allowed to like a bit of each other, or I'm not allowed to have a discussion with, if I'm red with blue, actually have a debate and go, you know what, you're probably right on a few things. Yeah. I think that the world's missing that. And I really try and encourage, we talk about it a lot within my leadership team about honesty rather than harmony. And we want to hear people's views.
Yeah, good. So if we wound the clock back,
Yeah.
I don't know, let's say 20, 25 years, went back to your younger self.
Yeah.
What would surprise your younger self looking at where you are now?
That I'm probably working in a traffic management business, having worked in hire.
Having worked at Disney to traffic management. It's
yeah.
almost a book cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Disney to traffic management.
100%. I think 25 years ago would definitely been probably still what you want to do with your life. I'm really open to different kind of opportunities. So almost in blocks. In my 20s was hospitality, in my 30s was coffee, in my 40s was hire, and probably now in my 50s is like traffic management and safety infrastructure.
But still higher. It still comes under that umbrella.
It still comes under hire, but different, but the same in certain areas. But I think my 25-year-old self would be quite happy. My son's 25.
Okay.
To hit the number, and I'm his go-to for when something goes wrong or I need some advice.
Okay. Well, it's interesting you mentioned about your son being 25. So what advice would you give to your son, knowing what you know now? So he's 25.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've never met your son. I don't know what career journey he's thinking of going on. But if there's a bit of sound advice you could give your son now from all the experience you've gained over your working career, so that one little nugget for your 25-year-old son for his career journey.
Is build a network.
Interesting.
It is. I probably was later in life where I realised the value of network. So the value of being part of a trade association, the value of really taking time when the last thing you want to do is get in a car to drive somewhere or to go to an event that you're not comfortable with. Going back to that, being open, making a conscious effort to really build your network of customers that will help you along your journey.
Yep.
And I have benefit of that every day by making that effort now. By colleagues who are there to be supportive, like yourself and Paul at HAE, to have people that you can pick the phone up to and go, I don't know this, what about this? And be prepared to listen because they've got better or different experience than you.
Yeah.
The network, I think I would have got further from a career perspective if I'd have done that 10 years younger.
But I suppose now in the digital world, the internet, mobile phones, that network connection, the likes of LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff, is probably easier now for your son versus what it was like.
It is, but that personal connection, I think, is the one that people think they've got a network maybe because they've got 5,000 followers on LinkedIn or whatever social media platform.
What really is the network?
I'd always judge it by how many people could I pick the phone up to that would take my call and answer a question for me.
Yeah.
And equally, I would hope to be part of a lot of other people's network that they call me.
Yes.
And it might be it might be a phone call, it might be a WhatsApp, it might be a LinkedIn message. But you've got to have it being sort of a sender and receiver mode. And I think that only builds up by being present in a relationship.
Yeah.
And having done that, the event that I talked to you about with 250 people in the room and a few other events over the last couple of years, the energy and feeling you get, and this is a good place to be when you're in and you are present with colleagues, you can't beat it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we've talked a lot about your career. I think we've given everyone a real good insight where it all started and where you've come to. Let's focus on Ramudden Global, Chevron. Most people probably in my network wouldn't have heard of that company. So give us a bit of an idea, where did it all start? Who started it? Just, again, a very small potted history about Ramudden Global, where it started.
So we're part of a group that trades all around the world, Canada, North America, a lot through Europe and in the Nordics as well as the UK. The business had been built slightly differently in each market. Mainly it's safety infrastructure on the highways. So whether that's a country road, an A road, a motorway. But each country, because of legislation and because of the way that they approach safety, is slightly different on the way that they deliver that service.
Okay.
So the group turns over roughly €1 billion. We were headquartered in Stockholm in Sweden.
Is that where it started?
It started in Sweden. Hans-Olof Blom started the business around 20 years ago. Literally came out of the army, mortgaged his house and bought some traffic lights.
So 20 years ago, and it's a global business.
It started as a really small business. So Hans-Olof started Ramudden 20 odd years ago, moved from literally a middle town in Sweden into Stockholm, it's quite a small market. I'd probably refer it to almost like a London market where everybody knows each other, or maybe a Northern Ireland market. Built the business up from there, then started acquiring small organizations. And then eventually it grew to a size where private equity bought it. And then you really use Ramudden as a platform, if you like, to be able to build into other markets.
Right.
So that's how, from a UK perspective, the business was built. Excuse me. 2/3 of what we do is what your members would probably know as straightforward traffic management.
So barriers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's making the road safe for any work to be done. So that may be working for a utilities contractor. So clearly the hire industry works with utilities contractors on, I don't know, whatever kind of non-mech to make an area safe. But we'll prime the road and do the planning, the install, the staffing, the removal of, if you like, the roadworks or the safety gear that needs to go on. And that includes motorways as well. So roughly half our traffic management business is, we call it low speed, straightforward A roads and below, and then our high speed business, because different legislation applies. High speed, very separate. You'll see it at night when you're driving through roadworks at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
When there's no one working.
When there's no one working.
Slow down to 40 miles an hour on the M1.
Yeah, exactly that. I did get an email last week from a lovely lady in Dorset asking me when I was going to finish her roadworks. I actually gave her a call. I think she was surprised to get a call from me. But I said, look, we just put the safety gear on. It's not me, but I'll put you in contact with who's actually doing it. So we follow instruction from, again, similar contractors that the hire industry would use. Balfour Beatty, huge part of our keeping road infrastructure. We also work in other industries as well, like energy infrastructure, utilities infrastructure, to help there as well.
Wow. Okay. So how long have they been in the UK? So Sweden?
Yeah, UK, through different acquisitions. I think it was 2017 the business started to build up. A number of acquisitions over time, like bolt-ons and moving into slightly different sectors as well. The way the business is structured UK, so I'll say CEO of the two high-speed and low-speed businesses, and then we've got two other real business verticals as well. One is a group of barrier businesses. So that is literally the metal barrier that runs through the center of a road. So if it gets hit as a safety device, we have teams that go out in the night and replace damaged barrier.
That's like I want to say corrugated metal. It's quite thin, isn't it?
Primarily metal.
The ones you just don't want to hit at 70 miles an hour.
Absolutely, you don't. But it's amazing how many times it does get hit through an accident, and then cars or lorries
career straight to the side of it.
So loads of repairs happen every single night on the motorway network, on the highways network, and my 4 different businesses in that area really work geographically.
But you're not putting the barrier in, are you?
We're planning it, we're installing it.
Oh, you're installing it as well?
Yeah, on that one. That one we're installing. So quite often a traffic management crew will be alongside a barrier crew and going out doing the work. And it's sort of all within my group.
Right. I didn't realise it was installation as well. I just thought it was basically directing the traffic and protecting road users, but it's actually getting down onto the tools as well. Yeah, if your barrier is needed. And then we've got a couple of, we've got a digital business which is really aimed at improving road safety. The digital business works with competitors to Chevron as well. So this might be things like if you go to a motorway junction and it's closed off, the old school way of having it would be a guy parked in a vehicle sideways on and you can't get past him. Always got the flashing arrow saying, go that direction.
Everyone's seen it. The newer way of doing that now is by putting barriers up and putting monitoring safety devices. First off, so you don't have to have a physical person there, because that's quite a dangerous thing, because people don't always pay attention and they do get driven into. And it allows you to monitor traffic flow in a much better way, to be able to open and close junctions as you need to. So that we've got a digital business. I've got a planning business that actually creates the work plans for all the equipment to go onto. And then the newest part of what we do, which is really aligned to the hire industry, almost if you're in the hire industry, would be a non-mech business. It's sort of non-mech more for highways. So particularly around a product called Urban Barrier. So this is where you'll see it a lot in London. You'll see it in the big cities where you'll see big red and white filled barrier, which will segregate traffic and people. It's not a great product. if that gets hit at any pace, whichever way it gets hit at, it could really damage a person if you get hit at pace. So a proprietary product that we've got is a product called Sphere Barrier. And Sphere is really used as it's got high impact protection. And we've got Sphere now out on likes of HS2 down at Old Oak Common. And that's a pure rental product. So if we're already talking to and working with, for example, in the hire industry, some accommodation providers to help build their compounds where then power, tower lights, accommodation blocks, etc. go into. So it's a pure rental business. And I've been lucky enough that 2 or 3 people that have worked with me in the hire industry have moved over to join me at Ramudden.
Good. So it sounds quite a complex business. Do you do events? So like Remembrance Sunday, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Look after things like that?
Yeah, we've got a great events business run by David Abbott. I made David come to, as a big Bolton Wanderers fan, I made him come to Bolton to have a look at what theirs was like the other day. David's been with the business from an acquisition right at the beginning for 40 years. I don't think there's anything in events he doesn't know. This year we did 60 Remembrance Sunday events. So we provided, because of the world we live in, unfortunately the events now have to be protected with
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, they have to be protected from vehicles that potentially
want to drive
or
through
something that could drive into it.
Yeah.
So there's a law that is out now, and it will soon be mandatory that those events have to be protected. The same as concert events, same as football, sports, or everything else.
It's a sad fact of where we are in the world, isn't it? And how we're living.
It is, and it's not something that it's something that you don't really think about until something bad happens. We've seen it in Liverpool recently. We've seen it in other areas. And those things could have been mitigated, could have been avoided with maybe better planning. And that's certainly coming into law. So that's going to be a big area that we're going to focus on to be able to provide more of those services.
Yeah.
And we support Nottingham Forest every week when they have a home game, for example. And we'll probably be doing the same for a few other football clubs soon.
So you're kind of like I won't say the unsung heroes, because you see it, but you don't see it. But it's probably everywhere.
We're there first. So we're there when, half of my teams work at night. So, you just don't see them. Like they're putting out, whether it's a safety zone, whether they're putting out new roadworks, whether they're even just planning and off the side of a road. They're there and they're doing their work.
Yeah. Do you think road safety standards are improving?
Road safety standards in the UK, for the work that we're expected to do about how projects are laid out, the standards that we have to adhere to and the contractors have to adhere to are one of the best in the world.
Good.
Where you'll see, for example, you said, you'd be driving along and you'll see roadworks maybe further out than you think any work's happening. That's because you'll set impact zones. There's lots of where you can bring vehicles onto a project and then leave. There's regulation about absolutely everything. There's literally from the size of the cone, how cones are spaced. The regulation is significant.
So when you see the big lorry going down the motorway, there's a man at the back dropping road cones. He literally is dropping it at a certain
absolutely.
It's not random.
It's not random. Depending on the project, there is absolute specification about the size of the cones, what the reflection needs to look like, everything. Because subconsciously, you'll already know when you see a certain layout of cones what is going to happen when you're driving through, because you'll have seen it and it'll have been consistent on all projects. You won't see a yellow cone, then a red cone, then a blue cone. That would confuse people. And if you think you've got a haulage industry that again is working through the night, they have to have consistency of visibility. Subconsciously, they know what things are. The team's there, and already you think sometimes, well, why is this so far out on roadworks or whatever? We've had numerous cars coming flying through cones at 80, 90, 100 mile an hour. So imagine then you're the person who's working, fixing a bridge or fixing a barrier.
You haven't got a second to think if a car's coming down at 80 miles an hour through the road, the road cones, you're dead, aren't you?
Yeah. It's easily said, but the nature of the work that we do, we have colleagues out in challenging, difficult environments. A couple of times now, I've stood literally on the M6. And unless you get that opportunity of standing next to 3 lanes of traffic
and a car's whizzing past
you, I didn't enjoy the experience.
Really? Well, I suppose you're not going to enjoy it, are you really? But yeah, I suppose it brings into perspective, what does 70 miles and people breaking the speed limit look like when you're stood at the side of a road?
When you're stood by the side of it, literally a few feet away. So from a safety perspective, there is never a moment where we're not vigilant, never a moment where we compromise on what we do. And from a training perspective and our expectations of our leaders and our colleagues who work together in teams and in groups, the safety standards expectation is tremendous.
So that's your strapline, to get people home safely every day.
And that includes my team. That isn't just the traveling public. That's the bit. I guarantee, as a CEO, as a president, if someone's ringing me on my work phone after 10 o'clock at night, it's not going to be a good call. And that has happened since I've started. And that is the bit that is, I had an example in October, and that was the toughest call that I've taken in my year of ever working. Yeah. So that puts it into perspective. It's real with people's families who have kids.
It's just a huge knock-on effect, isn't it?
Yeah. So when people talk about safety, and safety is that we live it.
So it's a high-risk environment. It's as simple as that, isn't it? It's a high-risk environment.
Yeah. Yeah. So there can't be any compromise. That's the single one thing that keeps me awake at night.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Is there a USP for your business?
I think our USP, no one can do what we can do in the UK from a road and safety infrastructure business. We can protect pedestrians from roads. We can make our roads safer to get work done and get them flowing. And we can do all the planning and everything else that sits within there. So I think the difference between maybe a traditional, in the hire industry, traditional non-mech business, maybe that the non-mech business would bring the stuff and give it to the customer, and the customer places it where they want.
Yep.
My team would plan it, bring it, install it, move it as the job's needed, and then remove it at the end of it. So we're probably a little bit different, and I think that would be our USP.
Okay. You've only been there 6 months.
Yeah.
What do you feel is kind of the next big shift for Ramudden in the UK over the next few years?
I think the move to more digital solutions and building our hire business out, which is relatively a newcomer, the sphere barrier system, how we're approaching it, and the kind of customers that we can work with. We want to work with utilities contractors on the water projects, on power and transmission projects. We want to work on other types of transport infrastructure. We're already starting to work now in the rail industry because the product lends itself to a similar sort of segregation of vehicles. So I think that building our hire business out, building our digital business out alongside it to try and remove as many people from those roads as possible. Not the stuff that you've got, but making it really quick and slick when we put our colleagues out on a shift. And then there's a number of governmental ones as well, like the Smart Motorways project was pulled by government, which is going to lead to capacity issues over the next few years. So it'll be interesting government's reaction to funding the road network. And we work in partnership with National Highways about what that looks like, and we'll set the agenda with them.
And obviously you're looking to work with other hire companies, I presume on a rehire basis.
Yeah.
But again, there's going to be building sites or large sites where they're going to need just traffic management just on the site, not necessarily on the road, or even leading up to the site. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, if you look at the hire companies that are working alongside the mobile phone companies like Ericsson to put 5G masts up, or remove an old mast and put a new mast up. If, for example, a powered access business turns up with a truck mount and does all that work, that powered access company needs traffic management because typically it will spill out into a road. Yeah. So we're already, as Ramudden and as Chevron, we're already working with the hire industry.
Okay.
The exciting part is probably more the bespoke hire products that we can then bring into the non-mech arena and maybe give that a little bit of a livener.
So you're based in the Northwest.
Yeah.
We haven't touched on sort of locations around the UK. Just give us a brief idea of, where are you positioned in the UK, Scotland?
Yeah. So we've got a little bit like a national hire business. We've got 40 depot locations around the country, all the way up to Scotland, serving Northern Ireland through just outside of Belfast, and all the way down the country. The way that on the road the motorway network works, the government or national highways split that into various areas. So we would work on some areas competitors would work on others because it's too much of a reliance on one business.
Yeah.
But typically where we have an award of an area, we'll then have our operating locations. And you know, you'll see them driving down the M6, you'll see the big, huge vehicles with the compactor on the back. So we're all over. But it's interesting, we don't necessarily have to have quite as proximity to customer as maybe a local hire business.
Okay.
Nobody comes to collect the stuff. It's all about our guys getting in a vehicle, taking it. So it doesn't really matter. We don't need proximity to cities and towns.
Sure. Okay. What advice would you give somebody wanting to start out in the hire industry? Now, we know as a trade association, you know, we've got an aging workforce.
Yeah.
We need to get more people joining the industry.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of experience in the industry now for the different companies that you work for.
Yeah.
Any piece of advice you could give somebody thinking about joining our industries, you know, from leaving university or just even leaving school, saying, right, I want to give hire a go?
It's not an easy industry to join, but I think it's a rewarding industry to join. I said earlier on about the power of network. If you can find 2 or 3 sponsors within an industry that are prepared to help you, for me, I would focus on 3 areas. I'd focus on technical knowledge of the equipment, the safety knowledge of the equipment, and I think one area that maybe we forget of as an industry is the customer-facing element of it. You go to a lot of trade shows and you'll find out about the new features of new kit, whether it's, I don't know, anti-vibration or it's lighter or whatever. You don't often talk about the benefits of it. The manufacturers don't often talk about the benefits of translating that into, why should I choose product A over product B? Why should I demand a red box with a drill in it and not just a blue box? What's the difference? For those who can be multi-skilled around product safety and commercial, if you like, you can carve out an excellent career.
Okay. Do you take apprentices on within Ramudden?
We do. Yeah, we have a number of apprentices through all our different business units, as well as the sort of central team around. We're looking to soon have a new marketing apprentice, and for me, I think it's a big responsibility. One of our businesses, Concilium, and Concilium are based in Fort Dunlop in Birmingham. They are in the top 50 small to medium enterprise apprentice employers in the country. So we place a lot on that, and they're our leaders of the future. Now, when I retire off in whatever I want to, I need the team to take this business and carry on.
I think that's a big thing, succession planning.
Yeah,
you know, time doesn't stop.
No,
and before you know, you'll get caught short because you haven't got enough people coming in at the bottom end teaching the craft of hire.
100%.
It needs to happen, but it is a challenge. It is a challenge, really.
It is. I think technology will play a part. I think it'll be easier to learn, and people will understand maybe. But getting in amongst the kit, getting in amongst customers, going on a project, and when a customer says, I've got this over here and it's an issue, what can I do to fix it? And you're having that knowledge, that just builds up from experience. And I think, again, the sponsor thing about having someone who'll help you. My son's first job was in hire, working for Torrent, part of the VP group, and Carl Abratis, who's the ops director there. I think he's got a new title, but I can't remember what it is, but Carl took a chance on my son, and he did a 3-year apprenticeship at Torrent, and he was hard. You know, he was in at 7 o'clock every morning when his mates are doing different kind of jobs, and that made him grow up.
Good. Right, we've got some easy stuff now, Adam. We can take a breath now. You can take a breath. Some really interesting things I want to talk to you about. So, if you had to teach a class tomorrow, what would it be on?
Definitely wouldn't be how to fix things in hire, fix equipment. I think it'd probably be around culture.
Okay.
About the power of an individual, the power of a team, power of a group, and how you try and create a better culture within the organisation that you work with. I think it's an area that I've developed over the last few years, and being able to bring a group with a shared sense of purpose and direction and that sort of reason to believe. I enjoy that, and I'm also fascinated by human psyche, about why people do what they do, whether they're performing well or not, and how you switch that around.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely about business culture.
So strong leadership, business culture, creating your team, getting everyone pulling in the same direction, ideally, but using everyone's different strengths, because there's no 2 people the same.
Listen, I totally agree with you, and Andy Wright sort of got me onto, I was always sort of a bit inspired by the amount of reading Andy did, and different books, and a book that I read, I don't know if he suggested it or not, but You Are What You Do, which is a great one about, it's not theoretical, it's about everything as a CEO, everything about in the role that you do gets noticed. What you wear, how you speak, how many breaks you have, the standard of your work, what car you drive, everything gets noticed.
Yeah, it does.
And being really conscious of when you make decisions about, for me, turning up at the wrong business unit with the wrong branded shirt on, straight away would put someone on the back foot. It's little things like we did the 200 people event, and I wanted to create energy in the room, so I didn't put chairs in for the first 20 minutes. Everyone stood up. And we did a 200-person meditation for a minute, right? Yeah, which I know you're laughing.
Yeah,
but
I'm just imagining it actually.
Yeah, but like 200 people stood up. I wouldn't have been able to do that if it was a chair. If your chair, you've travelled 2 hours to get to Birmingham, you'd be sat in your chair going, "Come on, entertain me," or "Is it lunch soon?"
Yeah.
We change it up
So to get everyone energized.
Yeah, it just same message, but delivered differently. And yeah, You Are What You Do is a good book to have a read of. It's not a particularly hard read or anything.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting where you have a boardroom set, well, not necessarily a boardroom, a conference room. You've got, I don't know, 100 seats. Everyone pours in.
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to present. Nobody wants to sit in the front 2 rows.
Yeah.
They want to sit in the middle towards the back.
Yeah.
But you see it time and time again. No one walks to the front and plonks themselves in the front. They just don't want to be in that firing line. But that's the psyche of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's interesting. Okay, who would play you in a movie, Adam?
Jeepers. I'm not sure who'd go and watch a movie about me, but
Well, it depends what kind of movie, doesn't it? But yeah,
I don't know. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna defer to my wife on this one. If you've watched Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
on, I think it's on Apple, the football.
it is. It's on Apple, yeah.
Yeah, she's the one. I don't know about the mustache, by the way, because he's got that big, huge mustache. But
Yeah.
that whole, hopefully, being like showing that sort of empathy for, and it is about winning, but winning in the right way. So I think it's Jason Sudeikis.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I don't even pronounce his surname, but
I think
you're right,
that's the actor. So Ted Lasso's actor, Jason Sudeikis. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
I'll go with him.
You're going to go with him?
Yeah, with the mustache as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, dinner with 3 famous people, dead or alive.
Okay. To do
I said this was the easy part. This is actually the hardest part for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is the sort of more abstract stuff.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're just trying to get into your head a little bit. Just trying to. Where are you thinking? Where's your thoughts at?
I've done it. I've actually done this once, but very, very briefly. But I'd like to do longer. I'm a big Bolton Wanderers fan.
Okay.
So my granddad used to take me from like 5 or 6 years old and stayed a Bolton fan.
Yeah, I think I know where this is going then.
Yeah. That's the best memories from sport, I think, were probably created by Sam Allardyce and the years that Bolton had. I think there's a new documentary out on Sky at the moment that I nearly shed a tear at the end of it. It's like an hour and a half of all the old players. So these are world-class players that came to Bolton. And actually at the heart of it, Sam created something completely different. Culture, attracting some world-class players.
Yeah.
I think so. I'd like a bit of time with him, have a proper chat about not necessarily the football side, about how did he create what he created. I watched a documentary and I've even got some tips from that, so that was quite good. I think a bit of brevity. I got brought up on like Morecambe Mindy and Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah. Nanu.
Yeah, Nanu. Not Robbie Williams for the kids listening. But no, Robin Williams, because again, I reckon he would be hilarious and insightful all at the sort of the same time. I think he'd be, and again, probably left the earth too soon.
Sad.
Which
Mental health.
sad.
You don't realise, do you?
No.
Just do not realise.
No, those were the times where I don't think mental health was even recognised as anything. But I think Robin Williams. Probably again, there's probably 4 or 5 industry leaders. I wouldn't mind the CEO of Microsoft that I quite admire. Took a business, and I can never pronounce his name, but Satya. He took a business from Bill Gates that wasn't broken, and then absolutely flipped it from being probably quite an arrogant, "We rule the world, you have to use us." And flip that to now completely changing the way that narrative works in that business, a lot more inquisitive. And that gives me hope that when you work for a big organization such as mine,
Yes.
that an individual can make a cultural change. and can, with a bit of vision and the right people around them, renew a business for the future. Doesn't always have to do what it's always done.
Yeah.
So that'd be it. Probably loads more, but yeah, that throws me as a question, that one.
That's good. No, really interesting. I think for you, it's exciting, isn't it? 6 months in,
Yeah.
there's a heck of a lot to go at.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting industry. I think hopefully from today's podcast, people will either listen to it in the car or watch sound bites of the podcast and actually understand what is Ramudden Global.
Yeah.
They understand you a bit. Well, if they've never met you before, they understand your background, where you've come from. And for me, it all tags back to the network and the contacts and who's who and who does what. So yeah, I've really enjoyed today.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, it's been really good.
So have I.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Adam.
For anybody listening to it, I am on LinkedIn. If you want to drop me a message, and if it's someone who's about to start off in the industry and wants to chat, someone in the industry wants a bit of an introduction, never thought about working in traffic management. Clearly, if someone's got an opportunity for hire and for my business, get in contact. Yeah. But listen, I'm open to it, and if I can't help, I'm sure I've got someone in my network that probably can help.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because traffic management is what it is. It's traffic management. Yeah. Hire is hire, but people would automatically go down the normal route of, well, I'll just go and work for a normal hire company, hiring out scaffold towers, mixers, and wicker plates.
Yeah.
But this is quite niche. Yeah. So it's a very different environment, but still, as I said earlier, coming under that umbrella of hire. So.
And my business, in the sort of scheme of things, from a size perspective of, if you look at revenues or number of people, sits up there with one of the larger nationals within the hire industry. Yeah. So, a few £100 million.
Yeah, good. Adam, thank you for today.
Thank you.
Really good.
Thanks for the opportunity, and have a good one.
Brilliant. Thank you.